From ashes to rebellion. The night sky over New Detroit glowed with an eerie purple hue, cast by the massive Valkyrie monitoring towers that dominated the cityscape. 7 years had passed since the alien armada had darkened Earth's skies, bringing humanity to its knees in a devastating 3-week war. What remained of the once proud city stood as a grim testament to humanity's defeat, broken skyscrapers interspersed with alien architecture that resembled crystalline honeycombs. Commander Julian Reeves observed the Valkyrie patrol from his position in an abandoned subway maintenance tunnel. At 42, his weathered face bore the marks of years spent fighting a seemingly hopeless war. His once brown hair was now streaked with gray, but his eyes remained sharp and calculating. The custom-made rifle in his hands, a hybrid of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered Valkyrie technology, felt reassuringly heavy. "Patrol passing checkpoint Alpha," he whispered into his comm unit. "Hold positions." Across the street, 3 figures remained motionless in the shadows of a collapsed parking structure. Julian's extraction team was small but effective. Most were too young to remember life before the invasion, but Julian remembered. He remembered blue skies without Valkyrie warships, cities without alien watchtowers, and a world where humans controlled their own destiny. "Clear," he announced after the patrol passed. "Move to extraction point." The team's mission tonight was critical rescuing Dr. Naomi Wright, a former NASA physicist who had been working as a forced laborer in the Valkyrie research facility. Intelligence suggested she had discovered something that could change the course of the resistance. Getting her out alive had cost them one good fighter, but Julian hoped she would be worth it. Back at their underground base, a repurposed water treatment facility beneath the ruins of downtown, Lieutenant Tomo Nakamura monitored the perimeter sensors. His engineering expertise and calm demeanor had saved their cell countless times. "The doctor is secure," Julian announced as they entered the command center. "What did we lose?" Tomo's expression darkened. "Rivera didn't make it, and we lost the eastern sensor grid. The Valkyrie are getting better at detecting our tech." Julian nodded grimly. Rivera had been with them since the beginning, another name for their memorial wall. He approached the woman they had rescued, who sat wrapped in a thermal blanket, her hands clutching a steaming cup of synthesized coffee. "Dr. Wright," he said, "I'm Commander Reeves, you're safe now." The woman looked up, her eyes haunted from years of captivity but burning with an inner fire. "No one is safe," she replied, her voice stronger than her appearance suggested. "But what I found might change that." From a hidden pocket in her tattered uniform, she produced a small crystalline device, unmistakably Valkyrie technology. "I was forced to translate their scientific archives," she explained. "Most was propaganda, but I found something they tried to hide, something about Earth." Tomo connected the crystal to their modified computer system. The screen flickered, then displayed intricate alien symbols that slowly translated to English. Julian's eyes widened as he read. "This can't be right," he breathed. The documents revealed a shocking truth. Earth had not been randomly conquered by the Valkyrie. They had come specifically for something buried beneath Earth's surface, ancient technology from a civilization that had visited Earth millennia ago. A civilization the Valkyrie feared. "In their historical records, they call Earth the Forbidden World," Dr. Wright explained. "They believe an advanced species they call the progenitors left weapons here, weapons capable of challenging the entire Valkyrie Empire." Julian exchanged glances with Tomo. "If this is true..." "There's more," Wright continued. "I cross-referenced their star charts with NASA data. I believe I know where this technology might be hidden." Within hours, Julian had assembled a small expedition team. The coordinates led them to an unremarkable location in what used to be the Appalachian Mountains. The area showed no signs of Valkyrie presence, no patrols, no sensors, nothing. "They don't know about this place," Tomo said as they approached a sheer rock face. "Their historical records must be incomplete." Dr. Wright examined the rock carefully. The documents mentioned a gateway that responds to the children of Earth. Julian placed his hand against the cold stone, feeling foolish. Nothing happened. Each member of the team tried with the same result. Frustration mounted until Zoe Chen, their communications specialist barely out of her teens, approached the wall. As her fingers touched the surface, blue lines of light spread from the contact point, forming intricate patterns across the rock face. The team stepped back as a section of stone slid silently aside, revealing a dark passage. "How did you do that?" Julian asked, stunned. Zoe looked at her hand in wonder. I don't know." They cautiously entered the passage, their flashlights revealing smooth walls inscribed with symbols unlike any human or Valkyrie writing. The passage opened into an enormous cavern, and as they entered, lights activated automatically, revealing the impossible. Before them stood 5 sleek spacecraft, clearly built with technology far beyond Earth's capabilities when the invasion happened. They were streamlined, almost predatory in design, with no visible engines or weapons, yet somehow Julian knew they were armed and dangerous. "The progenitors," Dr. Wright whispered in awe, "they left us a fleet." A holographic projection appeared in the center of the chamber, a humanoid figure composed of golden light. "Genetic recognition complete. Welcome, descendants. Emergency protocol activated due to detected extraterrestrial invasion. Combat systems online." "Who are you?" Julian asked. "I am Nexus, Neural Exchange Universal System. I was left here to guard these vessels until humanity reached the appropriate technological level or faced extinction-level threats. Based on my scans, the latter condition has been met." Julian approached one of the ships, his reflection distorted in its glossy obsidian surface. "Can these defeat the Valkyrie?" "The Phoenix-class interceptors were designed to counter technologies significantly more advanced than those I detect from your invaders," Nexus replied. "However, they require compatible pilots." "Compatible how?" Tomo asked. "Neural compatibility. The ships form a symbiotic link with their pilots. Not all humans will be compatible." Julian looked at Zoe, whose touch had opened the door. "I think we need to start testing for compatibility." Over the following weeks, the Resistance brought trusted fighters to the cavern. Out of hundreds tested, only 12 showed strong compatibility with the ships. Zoe displayed the strongest connection, followed by Julian himself. Training began immediately, with Nexus instructing them on the neural interface. The first time Julian linked with his ship, the sensation overwhelmed him. The vessel wasn't merely a machine. It felt like an extension of his body, responding to his thoughts faster than he could form them. The ship's systems poured information directly into his mind: weapons capabilities, defensive measures, and propulsion systems that defied conventional physics. "The ships absorb energy directed at them," Zoe explained after her first neural link session. "That's how they defend themselves, and they can redirect that energy as weapons." "Then Valkyrie energy weapons would actually make us stronger," Tomo realized. Their first mission targeted a small Valkyrie outpost near what used to be Pittsburgh. 3 ships, piloted by Julian, Zoe, and a former Air Force pilot named Marcus Diaz, approached under cover of night. The Valkyrie sensors never detected them. The ship's stealth systems were beyond anything humanity had ever developed. The attack lasted less than 3 minutes. The Phoenix ships absorbed the Valkyrie defensive fire, growing stronger with each hit. They released the energy in precise bursts, systematically destroying the outpost defenses and communications array without harming the human laborers kept there. As the 3 ships returned to base, word of the attack spread through resistance channels worldwide. For the first time in 7 years, humanity had struck back effectively against their oppressors. The Valkyrie response was swift and brutal. They increased patrols, implemented new security measures, and publicly executed humans suspected of resistance ties. But they also revealed something crucial: fear. For the first time, the invaders showed signs of genuine concern. With each mission, the human pilots grew more proficient with their ships. They struck Valkyrie installations across North America, freeing human laborers and capturing alien technology. The resistance ranks swelled with new recruits, and other cells around the world began coordinating their efforts with Julian's group. 4 months after discovering the Phoenix fleet, Julian called his core team together. The holographic display in their war room showed the position of a massive Valkyrie vessel that had recently entered Earth orbit. "This is the Dominion," he explained. "According to the data we've gathered, it's their flagship. The Valkyrie High Commander directs all Earth operations from there." "It's heavily defended," Tomo warned. "Even with our ships, a direct assault would be suicide." "We're not planning a direct assault," Julian replied. "We've discovered something about Valkyrie biology that gives us an advantage." The neural samples they'd collected from Valkyrie outposts showed an unusual vulnerability. Dr. Wright, now fully recovered from her captivity and serving as their chief science officer, explained. "Valkyrie are extremely sensitive to certain frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. At specific wavelengths, their neural systems experience temporary shutdown, essentially a mass blackout. Our ships can generate those frequencies," Zoe added, "but we'd need to get close to their command vessel." Julian nodded. "That's exactly what we're going to do. We're taking the fight to them." The plan was audacious. While the 12 Phoenix ships launched a coordinated attack on Valkyrie installations worldwide, drawing attention and forces away from orbit, Julian would lead a small team to infiltrate the Dominion. As preparations intensified, Julian spent a quiet moment at the memorial wall, his fingers tracing Rivera's name among too many others. "We're going to win this," he promised the fallen. "One way or another, Earth becomes free again, the Empire falls." Dawn broke over the hidden base as pilots prepared for humanity's most ambitious counterstrike. The 12 Phoenix-class ships gleamed under the cavern lights, their surfaces rippling with subtle energy patterns as they bonded with their pilots. In the command center, Julian addressed the gathered resistance fighters. "Today we strike at the heart of the Valkyrie occupation," he said, his voice firm. "For 7 years, they've treated our world as their possession and our people as their property. Today, that ends." The holographic display showed their targets, Valkyrie installations across the globe, all to be hit simultaneously. The coordination had taken months of covert communication with resistance cells worldwide. "Remember your training," Julian continued. "The Phoenix will protect you if you trust them. Feel the neural link. Move as one with your ship, and nothing in the Valkyrie arsenal can stop you." Zoe approached Julian after the briefing. At 22, she had become their most skilled pilot, her connection with her Phoenix deeper than anyone else's. "The infiltration team is ready," she reported. "Tomo finished modifying the shuttle's signature to match Valkyrie frequencies." Julian nodded. "Good. We'll launch once the main attack draws their orbital defenses away." Across the world, resistance fighters moved into position. Some would provide ground support. Others would rescue human laborers from the facilities once the Phoenixes neutralized the Valkyrie guards. It was a complex operation involving thousands of people, humanity's first globally coordinated attack since the invasion. At precisely 700 hours, the Phoenix fleet launched. They streaked across the sky like obsidian lightning, their advanced propulsion systems leaving no contrails. Valkyrie early warning systems remained silent. The ships were simply invisible to their technology until they chose to be seen. In orbit, aboard the massive Valkyrie command vessel Dominion, High Commander Thrax received the first distress signals from the surface with disbelief. "Impossible," he hissed, his translucent skin flushing deep emerald with anger. "How could the primitives coordinate such an attack?" His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Veeler, studied the incoming data. "The vessels match no known human technology. They're absorbing our energy weapons and becoming stronger." Thrax's compound eyes narrowed. "Deploy the orbital defense network. Send reinforcements to all major installations. These humans have hidden technology from us. I want it captured intact." As the Valkyrie command structure scrambled to respond to the unexpected assault, they remained unaware of the small shuttle approaching the Dominion's docking bay, broadcasting authentic Valkyrie identification codes. Inside, Julian and his infiltration team prepared to bring the fight directly to the heart of the alien empire. The first stage of humanity's revenge had begun. The empire crumbles. Chaos reigned aboard the Dominion as Julian and his infiltration team, consisting of Dr. Wright, Tomo, and two former Special Forces operatives, Darius Wade and Eliza Cortez, made their way through the massive vessel. Their disguises, crafted from captured Valkyrie technology, projected holographic fields that mimicked the aliens' appearance and signatures. "Security patrols increasing," Tomo whispered, consulting the handheld scanner he'd modified with Valkyrie tech. "They're pulling forces from all sectors to respond to our attacks planetside." Julian nodded. "Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted." The infiltration team moved purposefully through the corridors, mimicking the purposeful stride of Valkyrie soldiers. Years of studying their occupiers had taught the resistance fighters how to move like them, how to avoid drawing attention. The few Valkyrie they passed barely spared them a glance, too focused on the unprecedented attacks planetside. According to the schematics Dr. Wright decoded, the central command node should be 2 levels up, Julian said. That's where we'll find their neural transmitter array. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the Phoenix fleet engaged Valkyrie forces worldwide, the infiltration team would access the Dominion's neural transmitter, the system that connected all Valkyrie forces on Earth to their high command, and transmit the disruptive frequency Dr. Wright had discovered. If successful, it would temporarily incapacitate every Valkyrie on the planet and in orbit simultaneously. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, the coordinated assault had thrown the Valkyrie occupation into disarray. The Phoenix ships struck with surgical precision, their pilots moving in perfect harmony with their vessels. Decades of Valkyrie technological superiority meant nothing against the ancient progenitor technology. In former Beijing, resistance fighter Wei Lin pushed forward with her ground team as Valkyrie defenses crumbled under Phoenix assault. "The northeast quadrant is secure," she reported over the global resistance network, "moving to liberate the labor camp." Similar reports flooded in from Moscow, Sydney, Cairo, and dozens of other locations worldwide. For the first time since the invasion, humanity was winning, and the Valkyrie knew it. Zoe Chen piloted her Phoenix with unmatched precision over what had once been London. Her neural link with the ship was so complete that the boundary between human and machine had blurred. She didn't pilot the ship so much as think, and the ship responded. "Multiple hostiles approaching," she communicated to the other Phoenix pilots. "Their energy signatures are different. These must be their elite units." The Valkyrie had deployed their Harbinger fighters, sleek, deadly craft piloted by their most skilled warriors. Under normal circumstances, these would have been formidable opponents, but against the Phoenix ships, they were merely providing more energy to absorb. "Remember your training," Marcus Diaz broadcast to the other pilots. "Let them fire first, absorb, then redirect." The space around Earth had become a battlefield. The Valkyrie orbital defense network had activated, firing energy beams at the Phoenix ships that dared venture beyond the atmosphere. The beams, designed to destroy conventional spacecraft, only made the ancient vessels stronger. Back aboard the Dominion, Julian's team had reached the central command level, but their progress was halted by increased security. "Too many guards at the main entrance," Darius reported after scouting ahead. "We'll never get through without raising an alarm." "We don't need the main entrance," Dr. Wright said, studying her modified Valkyrie tablet. "There's a maintenance access point designed for their engineer caste. It should be less guarded." They found the access point guarded by only 2 Valkyrie soldiers. Eliza moved forward, her military training evident in her silent approach. 2 quick strikes with a modified stun baton, and both guards were down. "Their biology makes them vulnerable at the base of the spine," she explained. "One of the first things we learned during the resistance." As they entered the maintenance corridor, their disguise fields flickered momentarily. "The energy readings in this section are interfering with our holographic projectors," Tomo warned. "We need to move quickly." The corridor led them to a massive chamber filled with crystalline structures pulsing with energy. At the center stood a towering array that resembled a massive, inverted pyramid composed of what appeared to be liquid metal. "The neural transmitter," Dr. Wright whispered in awe. "It's more advanced than I expected." "Can you still interface with it?" Julian asked. She nodded. "The principles are the same. I just need access to one of those control nodes." They moved cautiously through the chamber, aware that discovery now would doom not only their mission, but the entire global offensive. Tomo managed to secure a control node, and Dr. Wright immediately began working, her fingers dancing across the alien interface. "Their security protocols are extensive," she muttered, "but predictable. They never expected anyone but Valkyrie to access these systems." As she worked, Julian received a transmission from Zoe. "Commander, we've engaged their elite forces. The Phoenix ships are holding, but we can't maintain this level of combat indefinitely. What's your status?" "We've reached the transmitter," Julian replied. "Dr. Wright is working on access now. Hold them as long as you can." On the bridge of the Dominion, High Commander Thrax watched in mounting fury as reports of defeats poured in from around the globe. "Impossible," he roared, his normally composed demeanor shattered. "How are they doing this? Where did these vessels come from?" "Unknown, High Commander," Wheeler replied, his own composure slipping. "But they appear to be utilizing technology similar to the progenitor artifacts mentioned in the ancient texts." Thrax's compound eyes widened. "The forbidden technology? Here, that's why our ancestors marked this world as forbidden." His voice dropped to a hiss. "We should have sterilized this planet from orbit when we had the chance." "High Commander," another officer interrupted. "We're detecting an unauthorized access attempt in the neural transmitter chamber." Thrax spun toward the officer. "Impossible, that chamber is secured." "Security feeds show 5 intruders," the officer reported. "They appear to be changing shape." "The disguise fields are failing completely," Tomo warned as alarms began to blare throughout the chamber. "We're exposed." Dr. Wright didn't look up from her work. "Almost there, I just need another minute." "We may not have a minute," Julian said grimly, readying his weapon as the sound of approaching Valkyrie soldiers echoed through the chamber. "Darius, Eliza, hold that entrance. Tomo, secure the secondary access. I'll cover Dr. Wright." The first wave of Valkyrie security forces entered the chamber and were met with precise fire from the Resistance fighters. Their weapons, reverse-engineered from Valkyrie technology, proved effective, but they were vastly outnumbered. "Hurry, Doctor," Julian urged as he took down 3 Valkyrie soldiers in quick succession. "I've breached their security," Dr. Wright announced. "Accessing the transmitter controls now. I just need to input the frequency sequence." The battle intensified. Darius took a hit to his shoulder but continued fighting. Eliza moved with deadly efficiency, years of resistance combat evident in her every move. Tomo had rigged a makeshift barrier at the secondary entrance, but it wouldn't hold for long. Throughout Earth skis, the Phoenix fleet was beginning to struggle. While individually superior to anything the Valkyrie could field, they were vastly outnumbered. The Valkyrie had committed their entire reserve force, determined to crush this unexpected human resistance. "We can't hold much longer," Zoe reported, her Phoenix absorbing hit after hit from Valkyrie vessels. "Whatever you're doing up there, Commander, we need it now." In the transmitter chamber, Dr. Wright finally stepped back from the control node. "It's done. The frequency is programmed, initiating transmission in 10 seconds. Julian keyed his communicator. "All Phoenix pilots prepare for Phase 2, transmission imminent." The crystal structures throughout the chamber began to pulse more rapidly, changing from their usual purple hue to a brilliant white. The liquid metal pyramid at the center began to vibrate, emitting a high-pitched sound just at the edge of human hearing. "Cover your ears," Dr. Wright shouted. "The audible component won't affect us, but it's going to be loud." The transmission erupted through the neural network. Across Earth and in orbit, every Valkyrie simultaneously froze in place, their neural systems overwhelmed by the precise frequency. In the transmitter chamber, the attacking soldiers collapsed like puppets with cut strings. "It worked," Tomo exclaimed. "Phase 2, Julian ordered into his communicator. "All Phoenix pilots execute now." The Phoenix fleet, now freed from combat, positioned themselves at strategic points around the globe and in orbit. Using their neural links, the pilots synchronized their ship's energy systems, creating a cascading field effect that amplified the disruption frequency. On the bridge of the Dominion, High Commander Thrax fought against the neural disruption through sheer willpower. He staggered toward the emergency controls, determined to initiate the ship's self-destruct sequence rather than allow it to be captured. "You will not take my ship," he gasped as Julian and his team burst onto the bridge. "It's not your ship anymore," Julian replied, leveling his weapon at the Valkyrie commander. "And Earth is not your world." Thrax lunged for the control panel, but Eliza was faster. A single shot dropped the High Commander to the deck. "Secure the bridge," Julian ordered. "Tomo, access their command systems. Dr. Wright, can you maintain the disruption field?" "The Phoenix fleet is doing most of the work now," she replied. "The field will hold for approximately 30 minutes before their neural systems begin to adapt." Julian nodded. "Then we have 30 minutes to end this war." Working quickly, they accessed the Dominion's command protocols. From here, they could control every Valkyrie installation on Earth. Tomo's fingers flew across the alien interface. "I'm accessing their security protocols now," he reported. "Deactivating weapon systems planet-wide. Done. Environmental controls in all detention facilities, transferred to local control. And most importantly," he looked up with a grim smile, "self-destruct sequences for all major Valkyrie military installations, armed and ready." Julian took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's future. Execute. Across the planet, Valkyrie military installations began to self-destruct in carefully controlled detonations. The Resistance had mapped these installations meticulously, ensuring that the explosions would not harm human populations or critical infrastructure. As the 30-minute mark approached, the remaining Valkyrie forces began to recover from the neural disruption. But they awoke to a dramatically changed situation. Their command structure decimated, their military installations destroyed, and their flagship under human control. Subcommander Wheeler, recovering on the bridge, looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and confusion. "What do you want from us?" Julian stepped forward. "Your unconditional surrender, the withdrawal of all Valkyrie forces from Earth, and a formal acknowledgement that Earth is now and forever a sovereign world, free from Valkyrie influence or interference." "The Empire will never—" "The Empire has no choice," Julian interrupted. "We now control your flagship. We have technology that can defeat your best weapons. And we have just demonstrated that we can bring your entire species to its knees with the push of a button." Wheeler looked at the other recovering Valkyrie officers, then back at Julian. "And if we agree to these terms?" "Then you leave, take your ships, your technology, your people, and go. And you spread the word throughout your empire that Earth is not to be trifled with again." In the days that followed, the remaining Valkyrie forces on Earth surrendered. Under the watchful eyes of the Phoenix fleet, their ships departed Earth orbit, leaving behind only the Dominion, which Julian had declared would serve as both a monument to human victory and a research platform for developing new technologies. 6 weeks after the victory, Julian stood with Zoe, Tomo, and Dr. Wright on a hilltop overlooking New Detroit. The Valkyrie towers were being dismantled, their materials repurposed for reconstruction. The purple glow that had dominated the night sky for 7 years was gone, replaced by the natural darkness broken only by the stars and the lights of human civilization beginning to rebuild. "Nexus has offered to continue working with us," Dr. Wright said. "The progenitors apparently left more than just the Phoenix ships. There are databases of knowledge, technologies we've never dreamed of." "And warnings," Tomo added. "The Valkyrie weren't the only aggressive species out there. The galaxy is full of potential threats." Julian nodded. Then we'd better get ready. Earth has earned its freedom. Now we need to make sure we keep it. Zoe looked up at the stars, her expression thoughtful. The progenitors chose us for a reason. They saw something in humanity worth preserving, worth nurturing. Our resilience, Julian suggested. Our determination. Perhaps, Dr. Wright said. Or perhaps they simply recognized a kindred spirit, a species that, despite its flaws, would fight with everything it had for the right to determine its own destiny. As night deepened over the recovering Earth, the first ships of what would become humanity's defensive fleet took up positions in orbit. Built with a combination of progenitor design principles and human innovation, they represented the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The Valkyrie Empire had fallen, at least as far as Earth was concerned, and from its ruins a new power was rising. Humanity would never again be at the mercy of those who came from the stars. Instead, they would reach out to those stars themselves, not as conquerors, but as equals, ready to forge alliances where possible and ready to defend themselves where necessary. The revenge of humanity had been swift. Now, from the ruins of an empire's ambition, the future would be built, a future determined not by alien masters but by humanity itself. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.